Hey, how you doing, David? You're looking very handsome today in your suit.
Sharp, so fresh and so clean.
You
That is
look
true.
very
Thank you. Thank you.
nice. Yeah, yeah.
I appreciate it. We have a couple of closings today, so
That's always a good thing. That's always a
and
great,
we have
great day.
and we have an amazing guest. We also have an amazing guest
We
coming to visit.
do. This guest is one of my favorite humans on the planet. But before we do that, I'm also excited about our community highlight. It's different this week. So, our topic for the week is like our bucket list items. And absolutely, one of the things I've always wanted to try is floating in Epsom salt. It's like these pods. It's a float spa basically, and it's sensory deprivation, but it's supposed to be super 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 relaxing. So one has opened up in Cedar Park, right by the Cinemark over on Whitestone. And so I just got off the phone and I'll be
No
going
way.
in a few days. I'm very, very
No way. You
excited.
did it. That's awesome.
So here we go. I'll go and then I will post the video here. But that's the Cedar Park Float Spa is the highlight of the
Dude,
week. Room. There's Kayla. Hi, Kayla. Getting her paperwork ready. Stay tuned.
Y'all finish up with your sessions today. This space is here for you to hang out and relax. We've got the oxygen bar we can set you up on. I definitely encourage sitting for a few minutes after your session. Try not to rush back out into the matrix. We've got some great coloring books, journals where people will share their experience, and books on floating, all that good stuff. So hang out with us after here. Through this door are just the restrooms. So there's two restrooms. There'll be a chance for you to utilize them before. I'll show you your float suites first, but then we also have a prep room around the corner with blow dryers, toiletries, cotton products, all that kind of stuff. So when you finish up today, make yourself at home to anything that's in there.
Oh, no, I just, I naturally just go like this.
And where the magic happens.
Bigger than I thought.
Yeah, nice. We're some of the first to have these new float pods, spaceship style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does look like a spaceship.
Yeah, it's awesome. So we'll run you guys through kind of the order of operations in the suite. You'll just shower off before you float today. Use shampoo and body wash. Just get conditioner, if you will, until afterwards. Just better for the pods that way. After your shower, you've got your float essentials on the bench there. Those earplugs that you see that glow, slide those in after your shower. They just keep the noise out, keep the salt out, all that good stuff. Keep them in for the duration of your session today. There's a little packet of A&D ointment as well on the bench. That's just for if you know you have any cuts or scrapes. Just cover a cut and it'll keep the salt water from kind of distracting you in the first few minutes. I often have something I didn't realize from playing with the cat or whatever. The salt will clean it real quick in the first minute or two, and then it'll go away for you too, just so you know what that is. But then you're ready to hop in. You don't need to dry off before you float. You can save your towel, but I do like to just pat my face dry a little bit so I don't have that one pesky water drip drying slowly in the first few minutes of the float, since you can touch your face with your salty hands. But then hop in. The float pod is the longest this way. But I fit in this direction too. Point being, there's no wrong direction to float or anything like that. The doors are just on little sliders, so you can close the pod, you can keep it a little cracked if you want, or you can keep it totally open. There are little handles just underneath here. The float pod is filtering right now. Once it gets closer to time, it'll go still, quiet, and clear for you. As far as the light goes, you're in total control of your session today, so we can set you up with whatever music you like. As far as the light goes, there's a little button just on the underside of the bench right here. If you push that in, the light goes off. Press it again, and it comes back a different color. So you can play with the different colors if you want to. They're just the color therapy LEDs. Or personally, I'm a purist floater. I like to float in the dark. If you're up to it, that full, reduced environmental stimulus therapy is beautiful. As far as music goes, our default, what most folks do, is just 10 minutes of music to start, to kind of get settled in there, and then there's 45 minutes of silence to let the brain really relax, fully unplug from all senses as much as possible. And then at the end of session, you'll know the float's over when the music comes back on. So it'll play for the last 5 minutes. I'll usually try to stay pretty still throughout my session. You're going to play around a little bit in your first one with being that buoyant. But I'll save some stretches for that last 5 minutes and really stretch it out before I hop out and that last bit of music. And then hop out, rinse off. Otherwise you'll go home looking like a powdered donut and meet us back up front. There's a little spray bottle right here inside each pod. If you accidentally get any salt in your eyes, you can rinse that and it'll dilute and come right out for you so you don't have to hop into the shower. And then there's a little float halo here too. This is basically like a float pillow. It's not required for anyone to float. We're all plenty buoyant, but a lot of people do like just that little extra support. Feel free to bring it in with you, give it a try, see if you're feeling it, or you can always toss it out if not too.
So then you just cover up with the towel to go to a changing area?
Everything takes place here in your suite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's some hooks behind the door there where you can hang your bag or anything. But yeah, this is your private suite for the hour.
Okay. Awesome. It was.
I think it's a float spa.
It was amazing. Okay, and funny and weird because like you're only in 10 inches of water, but you do float because there's like 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt in it, and it's these. You feel like you're in a spaceship, and I mean I did love it. I loved it. I wish I could do, and maybe I still will, a TikTok of like what my brain was like in that hour, because like random songs were popping into my head, you know? And then I'm like, oh, wait, relax. And then another song would be in my head. And then I would start like floating around, and then I'd bump into the side of the tank. I mean, it was just such a funny experience. And I was also very worried about Kayla because Kayla did it with me. And Kayla cannot stand silence. She cannot stand silence and stillness. She needs to have something going all the time. She falls asleep to podcasts. So I was very worried about her the whole time. I did hallucinate that I was hearing birds, which apparently is really normal. Not birds, but people hear things. Okay. So I heard birds. But then this very soothing, calm voice, this recording comes on at the very end and says like, it is now time to exit the pod. And so I was like, okay. So like, I sat up and it was pitch black. Now you can choose to be in the dark or there's a light. I just chose the dark because I wanted the full experience. Then I probably went around the whole pod like 3 times.
Like in front of a glass or something?
Well, I mean, it's probably fiberglass. It's like car material is what it feels like.
Okay.
So it's these doors that like roll close and then you're in like a big egg basically. And so it just, I mean, it was probably 3 times around the pod before, and I never did find the handles. I finally found the button for the light so that I was able to turn the light on and get it open. But in that, like by my 3rd time around, I'm like, I'm never getting out of here. And I'm naked because you're supposed to do, the optimum is to be naked. You're allowed to wear a bathing suit if you want, but it's completely private. No one can see anything. But so I was like, okay, I can do this. I can be naked until that moment where I couldn't find the light. And then I'm like, what do I do now? I start screaming. Somebody comes in here. I'm naked. Like,
yeah, that is true.
Definitely I was panicking.
So did you find the light?
I found the light. I opened it up, I got out, and I will say that is the most relaxed I have been probably ever. I mean, I just felt so calm, and then that night was such a good night's sleep.
But you know how easy you made that look? This is in my bucket list. Here's the phone number. Call it. Get her done.
Honestly, it felt like one of those weird coincidences because I've always wanted to try it. And then I was over there doing something else. And then it was like, I felt like it appeared out of nowhere. I had no idea that there was even one right there in Cedar Park. So I was like, boom, cool. Great. Anyway, without further ado, I would like to introduce our guest for the week. I'm about to let in my dad, the best dad ever, Mr. Mike Flood. Here he comes.
Clicking.
Oh,
hey,
hi, Dad.
How's it going, Mike?
Good.
Look how fancy it is.
Finally getting to meet you.
That goes both ways.
Thank
So-
you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So Dad, this is David. David, this is my dad, Mike. So look how fancy Dad is with his little blurred background and everything. Yeah. My dad's always been like way ahead of the game with like tech stuff too. Like that's one of my favorite memories of my dad is he worked in a sound studio when I was a little kid. So he would bring home the old reel-to-reels and play them like super loud in the house. And I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And then he was one of like the original people in the mobile phone industry. Like it started as car phones. So we had a phone in our car in like it was the 80s, right, Dad?
Even into the 70s, early 80s. Well, late 70s, really, late 70s, because cellular started in the mid 80s.
Yeah, because all I remember is that Harrison Ford, who of course is Han Solo, so one of my first crushes, was filming Witness not that far from where we lived. And he borrowed our phone
No.
for his car. And I remember my dad being like, "We've got the number. You can call him." And I was like, "Ah," because I was little.
How cool is that? That's amazing, actually. That's pretty cool.
And also like one of the first people that I knew to have like a CD player. So like my dad was just always very aware of cutting edge technology. And so like I was performing to CDs when I was like in, 6th and 7th grade. So we were just always ahead of the game, but that's also where Aiden gets all of his passion for tech, I think. Because Aiden and my dad are like the same person. It's crazy. It goes directly like my dad, my brother Keith, and Aiden. They're like all the same person.
Wow.
So, and
That's
Dad.
So you had So you had CDs when people were just dealing with the regular cassette tapes. I still remember that when you were able to rewrite the CDs and just record them.
Right.
And me and my brother used to make our mix to go work out and things like that. But that's super cool because Mike, nobody from my family, it's really digging the technology part of it. They stay with something and they don't like change. And then eventually it takes them a while to get the wheels spinning and okay, I'll make the change. And but that's something that you have that's not a lot of people. That's all I'm gonna say.
No, I mean, he was always right on the edge. And also I will say like my singing talents, if I have them, come from my dad too. So he was never like a professional singer, so to speak, but could have been easily, like has this amazing voice, and his aunt was an amazing singer. So it comes from my dad's side too, which is really fun. So I just think the same things that make you a good singer also make you a great like sound engineer because it's the ear. And I think I tortured my dad practicing piano as a kid because he would be like, still not quite right. Like, it's
You know
torture.
what? I'm just gonna say I'll ask something really quick because now we have somebody that can truly tell us the truth. Mike, did Kristin, when she was little, did she used to sing in the shower?
Oh yeah.
Maybe before I saw Psycho, I thought you were going to ask about the child abuse out the window because that was a true story. No, so Dad, I don't sing in the shower anymore because I saw Psycho and it terrified me. So now, like, I don't. But I guess maybe I did when I was little. Actually, I do kind of vaguely remember practicing like my opera arias in high school.
Yep.
We got you. And it's recorded too, Kristin.
It is. I know. I'm outed.
Your mother's head is nodding.
Yes. So Dad, David just had his second little girl very, very, very recently.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So a family full of girls.
Yeah, I mean,
it's interesting.
so David's got an amazing and stunning wife and then 2 daughters. And then he has on his team that he works with is me and another beautiful woman. And like he's just surrounded by queens
I learned. I'm slowly learning to talk about shoes, jewelry,
Feelings.
lotions, feelings. It's interesting world.
It
But
is.
but Mike, so it's just two kids, right? Kristin and your
Keith.
brother Keith.
Yep.
Cool. So you guys stopped at two.
We had to.
Yep, we had to.
I hear you, Mom. You can peek in if you want.
Mom's in the back.
No, I'm not dressed for appearance.
Just to
I know
impress.
that feeling. Yeah, Mom had some health issues, but Keith and I are healthy, so that's fine. I'm the older. Keith is the younger brother. So remember we talked about that, David, how you and I are both the older siblings.
Yeah, about 4 years apart.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, my brother and I are like 4 years and a week apart. So our birthdays are both in March.
Did you guys used to get along like throughout, or was there some hard times?
Lots of times.
I mean, I think I tortured him when he was little.
That's accurate.
And then I felt guilty about it when I got older. But like I used to drive him to school when I was in high school. So I think like his opinion of me went up then. Like when I started driving him around, he was okay with it. And of course I always had the pretty girls at the house.
That is true. That is true. That's huge.
Hello. But yeah, I feel like we tried to I felt like we were closer once I was away at college, which kind of I think happens sometimes. But now we just live so far away from each other, it's really hard. So I miss my brother. But yeah, so one of the reasons why I wanted to invite my dad today, our topic for this week is bucket list items. And you know, my dad has had this really cool life with cool career choices and everything, and he's also a pilot. But one of the greatest gifts my dad has given me, like in recent years, was really telling me that, you know, he turns 80 in May, right, Dad?
Yep.
Congrats. Many blessings.
Yeah, on Mother's Day. No pressure on me this year. Okay. So yeah, so he had said that, you know, he feels like he has lived, like has reached everything on his bucket list, that he has lived this full, beautiful life. And it gave us this peace, like no matter what happens from here on out, like Dad feels good about his life. And so I literally, like, that's my motto for living now. Like every day I'm like, okay, I look back on the day. Was it like, did I live this day to the best I could? And if I can get to the end of a day and feel like, yeah, I had some moments, then I feel like I'm doing a good job. So I just felt like my dad was like the perfect guest for bucket list, but also because my dad has gone skydiving.
Whoa. Wow, that's interesting. How old were you when you decided to go skydiving, Mike?
When I turned 65.
Oh my God. 65 and you decided to do skydiving. What in the world? I mean,
Well, the very good friend of mine is a mechanic up at the local airport, and his mechanic shop is right next door to where the skydivers jump from. So we've all become, you know, well acquainted and really good friends. And so mechanic's name is Phil. Well, they one day they talked him into jumping, and so that was it. He came back and he said, "You got to do it.
you got to try
to
it.
do it."
But was that ever in your bucket list when you were like younger, or just out of nowhere?
But it certainly crossed my mind, sure. And I thought, gee, I doubt if it'll ever happen. But yeah, it did. And then, you know, a few years later, in fact, last year, the year before, I got to fly the jump plane as co-pilot. And so I got to see that side of it, which was, you know, really interesting.
My God. That's
Right?
amazing.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. Were you ever like, for example, I'm scared of heights, right?
Mhm.
So even bungee jumping for me I did it just to face my fears.
Good for you. I would like to do that also.
It's never too late.
Exactly. I
But-
agree.
but you know, my mind did change though. Whenever I was single, I was thinking, "Yeah, you know, I have to do skydiving." But now with two little ones in the family, it's kind of like your mindset changes, right? And there shouldn't be anything wrong with that. But man, skydiving though, that's
Well,
risky for me. Risky.
well, sure, it certainly is. But I mean, knowing these guys as well as I did, knowing their safety record and all the extra precautions that they take, that obviously raised my confidence level considerably. So it, I knew the guy that I was doing the tandem jump with. I know the boss guy over there that, and, we're real good friends, and he's a pilot also. So, just the association, I knew, that I was not worried at all.
Well, I'll try and look it up, but I want to say you're actually like in more danger statistically just driving in your car than actually like jumping out of an airplane with a well-trained person.
That's true. Now, I will say that all of the guys over there in the skydiving hangar do not have life insurance because they can't get it.
That
That
would
is
make
true.
sense.
That
Yeah,
is true.
the head guy, Aaron, his wife, has all their insurance is in his wife's name because it has to be that way.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Did you ever like well, it's not like you can back out when you're up there, right? Because you're
No,
strapped to another person.
actually you can. There had a number of times where somebody got up there in the airplane and she said, absolutely not doing it. So they just, unclicked and disconnected, sat her back down in the seat. She rode the airplane back down to the ground and landed.
Oh, okay. So you do have an option of actually
Sure,
backing out if you wanted to.
absolutely.
I'm thinking that once you're up there, you're just like you're strapped to another person and then you just can't say no.
Nope, not at all.
What if you don't mind me asking, like can you kind of just describe a little bit? I'm curious more than anything to know, is it like your I don't know, your how does it feel, I guess?
Well, and because of that ride, if and when I try it again, I will make some minor changes. It's
Not smiling.
you of course get all suited up and all the proper harnesses and everything, and they check and double check and triple check, and then you of course you sign a release absolving them of any liability. I forget how many times you initial their form. It was 35 or 40 times you
Wow.
initial it, and then you pile into the airplane. The airplane blasts off, and he slowly climbs to. In our case, we generally climbed up to 12,000 feet, or maybe even 12,500 feet. And of course, he calls into Philadelphia Radar Control to, so that they protect the airspace and make sure it's kept clear for them. And then, we, having previously checked the winds and everything, they start their jump run. And then on jump run, that's when, one by one, you go out the door, and you free fall from the 12,000 down to about 5,000. Well,
That's what
this is where I would change it, because although they give you goggles, which you have to have them,
right.
I was smiling so broad and so happy, my mouth was wide open the whole time. Well, when I reached the ground, it felt like I had a mouth full of cotton. It was so completely dried out. And then then from 5,000 feet, the chute is open, and of course it's a much slower ride. And in fact, one of my friends said, "Well, shucks," he said, I think I would open the chute sooner just to make the ride longer.
Right. Because it does go by pretty fast, I guess, right?
Yeah, it sure does. But it's very interesting.
For sure. I think I'm gonna wait till I'm 65.
All right. Sounds good.
Wait, if you're 65, I'll be like late 70s. Maybe we could do it together, David.
We'll be calling your dad for advice, hopefully.
Wow.
What else I gonna ask? There's another thing though. I don't know if it would ever happen, but I'm gonna have to get it approved by the boss. Did you have any issues with that, getting it approved?
Not really. Maybe she should answer, but not really.
No issues whatsoever. That's good.
She knew how much he wanted to do it, I think.
So how much has your bucket list changed nowadays? Like from, let's say, 20s to 40s to now your age. Is there anything?
Well, I think I just more and more just keep trying to broaden my horizons and, coming up with things that I would still like to do. An example would be zip lining. I wanted to do that so bad, and that has not happened yet. And I seriously want to make it. Mom's back now, so you can ask her that question again.
We were just asking Mom if you are okay with Dad going skydiving.
Well, I didn't know about it till he called me just as he was getting ready to go.
Well, that will do it.
That's the way that you do it. You see, there's little secrets like this, Mike, that we need to learn. You still call, but you just call like an hour before.
Yeah,
Right.
He called me from the airport and he said, if you want to see me skydive, come on up. And I called a couple friends and we went up and he did it. And then that night he went to this Lions Club right afterwards. We had a function with his Lions Club right afterwards. And everybody commented that he had a big smile that he couldn't erase. And his hair was straight and he's got very curly hair.
Yeah, this came from that. My mom has the red hair, although my dad's brother had red hair too. So, but the curls, definitely Dad.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So
It gave new meaning to windblown hair.
For sure. So zip lining is still on the bucket list. I feel like Dad, because I was trying to put together like things on like what's my bucket list, right? And for me, there's a lot of travel, but I feel like you and Mom have done so well on that.
Yeah.
Just even in the last 25 years, like you've gotten to go to Australia and go to really cool places.
With his job, especially.
Yeah, Motorola was very, very kind to us in that respect. They sent us as far east as Switzerland and as far west as Hawaii. So I really thank them for that. But, had it not been for Motorola, none of that would have happened, certainly.
Your dad set up the first cellular systems.
Yeah, we talked about that. I learned about that. That's amazing. It's funny that you say Switzerland because that's my bucket list, to have a house over there, because I heard it's amazing. I mean, I never been. I just seen and I fall in love just by watching on TV.
Oh yeah,
I heard it's amazing.
It's gorgeous.
So Mike, a question going back to the zip lining. I mean, I know they're big in Costa Rica. They have some great ones.
Told him that.
Where you live right now? Actually, where do you reside right now? Is it
Southeast Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia.
Oh, okay. Do they have some over there where you can do it?
I don't know of anything
Poconos.
real close.
The
There
Poconos.
are some up in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania and in northern New Jersey also.
Gotcha. Well, if you guys like to travel, I don't know if you've been to Costa Rica, but
Yeah, tell me.
there's your place for a zip lining for sure.
Kristin's brother was just down there and he said it's incredible.
Awesome.
And the thing is, the cost of living down there is just so cheap. It's well worth doing.
Well, this could be another topic for a different day, but a lot of people that retire, and I keep on hearing this more and more, they actually end up moving out of the U.S. to places like Costa Rica, Guatemala, Belize,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my friend.
and they live like kings with
Yes.
their
They sure do.
With the retirement.
with the retirement. Yeah, it's amazing. And hey, I'm well in my bucket list, just like you, Kristin. I have traveling. So you said Switzerland, and then all the way to Hawaii. Which one has been your favorite?
Australia,
Ugh.
Hawaii.
Australia, New Zealand, and Hawaii for sure.
Those three.
I mean, both New Zealand and Australia, they just seem to have the friendliest people that we have ever run into. Although, I mean, Switzerland also in that respect,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
And were you able to tell that they have different systems from the U.S.?
Yep,
Yeah.
sure do.
Is it a little bit more organized, I guess, or what makes it different?
Australia is very, well, they were health conscious more than we were.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Litter and all that.
My wife says that it reminds me that Australia was much more health conscious and
Like
environmentally,
eco-conscious. Yeah,
you know, they got rid of styrofoam packaging a number of years ago.
Nice. That's always important.
Yep.
Always important.
And we especially like New Zealand
That's our favorite.
because there are no poisonous snakes there.
Exactly. It's
None.
like Australia without the danger to your life.
That's right. But Australia has, you know, hundreds of things that will bite you and hurt you.
Yeah.
New Zealand, not at all. They just never made it across the Pacific.
And
True. You should see Texas. Have you visited Austin before?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sure. We love it.
Oh,
We
Not the heat
yeah.
so much.
really
but-
hope to get down there this year.
that would be awesome.
Yeah, they haven't seen the house we're in right now yet, David, because of COVID.
Oh,
Right.
So
gotcha. That must have been tough. What I was gonna ask you something in terms of your traveling, Mike. Are you guys doing like once a year, or you have 2 trips planned a year? How does it work with you guys?
Well, what's your job?
It's kind of unplanned right now. I mean, you know, with Motorola, when I was working, it was pretty much once a year. But then, you know, obviously the last 2 years, everything went right out the window. So
Our last
we're-
trip was for a 50th wedding anniversary.
yeah, our last trip, you know, was
2 years, 4 years, 3 years ago. Yeah.
Right before COVID?
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. And then, you know, we felt just horrible when Kristin and Tom's 25th wedding anniversary, you know, came the next year, and it was right in the middle of COVID because we didn't tell her a whole lot of the plans, but we had started working on quite a little get together the preceding year, and we had
To cancel it.
started, you know, we started all the lists and, you know, started,
Where we're gonna have it.
yeah, where to get it, where to have it, and what kind of decorations, and, you know.
for
all
the
that kind of-
record, it was still fantastic. They with like our kids put together like a whole movie for us. It was a whole event. I mean, yes, it was sad because we were supposed to go to Scotland too, like that. We had a trip planned. But everybody was just so wonderful. I don't have bad memories about it. I was grateful that, you know, our kids were all home. So we got
Yep.
to spend it with the kids. And then you guys managed to get videos from like a lot of our old friends. And so it was great.
Yeah, you'll
I
be
have
back.
no regrets.
No, I'm actually at the title company. I'm not.
Oh, you are? Oh, the
I'm at
title
a title
company.
company, and I didn't want to miss this opportunity. Thank you so much for making it possible. Really wanted to get to meet Mike, and yeah, I had a couple of closings today, so it's been
Great.
crazy schedule.
Sure,
Yes.
but that's a good thing. Crazy good.
Crazy good. Crazy good. Yeah, for sure.
That's great.
Well, I wanted to say, I had broken it down into just like 3 areas, and I'm just going to toss out the list at you guys, and then it'll be on here and accountability forever. But then David, you need to share some of yours too, because we've heard my dad's doing really well with his bucket list. So for me, travel, it's travel, career stuff, and then like family stuff. So travel, I want to get to, within this country, I want to go to New Orleans because I've not been, and that's not even that far away. So that needs to happen soon. I want to see the Pacific Northwest and Alaska. And then I want to go to New Zealand and Iceland. Those are my 2 big outside. In terms of career stuff, things have been going really well with real estate. So I already feel like, we can always do better, and that's amazing. But I feel very good about what we've been able to accomplish and the people we meet all the time. So it's more like the acting side that I have wish lists for. And the big one is actually to get to be part of a period drama where it's like very old fashioned costumes. So I got to be on a show that will come out in the spring or summer where I was in 70s attire. And that was fun for sure. But I would really love like something with like corsets. So that's kind of a career dream, and anything associated with Star Wars would be
Amazing.
probably not likely,
cool.
but I'm putting it out there because why not? Anyway, and the big reason for that too, I was thinking about my dad last night. Even my love of music really came from Star Wars. So my dad having such an appreciation for music and how it was created, he after we saw the Star Wars movies, and I was like an instant fan at like 6 years old. Like, I'm sure my parents will tell you, they'll nod right here and say, I wanted to go back to the theater so bad that I was like a perfect child for like months because I just wanted to go back to the movie theater and see it again. And I remember my mom saying like, okay, well now we know you can be this good. Why aren't you this good all the time? So I was just such a huge fan, but my dad bought the records, like the vinyl of the soundtrack. So my earliest memories of like what was classical music to me was the Star Wars soundtrack. So my pathway into loving classical music was Star Wars. And last night, the UT Wind Ensemble played a concert of John Williams music, and the whole second half was Star Wars. And my sons and I and Tom were all there, and we found out just as it was starting that they were streaming it. And so like we were trying to send the link to my dad because it's just something that's another thing that's been passed down. All 3 of my kids love that music as much as I do. But so Star Wars really is special. It's not just the acting part. It's really just the music part. I just love everything about it. And then for family, like I'm looking forward. I do have 3 kids, so I'm hoping that someday, hopefully I'll get to like have a wedding with the kids and maybe get to be a grandma someday. So those are like, hope I get to do that. But
that's awesome.
So that's my whole list.
But,
All right, David.
So we're gonna hold you accountable for those?
I guess so.
All right, said and done. It's recorded.
It is.
Go back.
It's out there. How about you, David?
Well, now that we're being held accountable, I don't really want to say the skydiving because, yeah, I'm not a.
Don't rule it out.
I won't rule it out, exactly.
Yeah, don't slam the door.
That is true, especially after I heard you describe that experience. And yeah, you're right. Looking at the statistics, doesn't look that bad. But once I'm up there, I think there's going to be different statistics going through my head.
Like, why am I jumping out of a perfectly good plane?
That's what
Well,
Dad's
the other side of that joke is the airplanes that are used for skydiving are often not perfectly good.
Uh-oh, truth bomb.
Yeah, that's true. Mine is
Hey, they've been doing it over 10 years, and in those 10 years,
They've never had
one incident, and
One.
you know, there was no death associated with it. So
just minor.
Very
but
nice.
don't you see you're a different type of person, because usually when there's one, I'm like, oh, I know that it's gonna happen to Moi over here,
Yeah,
and things like that go through your mind. But no, you're right. You're right. It's something that needs to be tried out. In regards to what I want to do is my bucket list to be held accountable for. I really want to travel, and want to travel to uh, Asia. I haven't been. I just heard different food, different culture, and I like learning about all of that. And obviously love the food, love trying different types of food. That's one. Second is, so now that we're into real estate, I want to develop. Like I did my first deal where I actually purchased land, ended up putting a foundation, a home, mobile home, and I was able to finance that project. And now my in my bucket list is to actually build a house from scratch, just bottom up.
yeah,
I'll be something that's on my bucket list. Third but not least is, or you ready for this one?
sure.
Run for Congress.
Oh,
Good for you.
Good for you.
Yeah, yeah. Be able to not your typical congressman, just be able to make a change, make a difference, put a stamp in history if possible.
Let's face it, that place needs much change.
Yep. And with everything that's going on right now, though, it's crazy, right?
It
There's
sure is.
so many things going on right now that I don't. It doesn't look positive.
True.
So somebody, not somebody, everybody really needs to step up and make a difference and put a little bit of what they can into changing. I mean, from the environment to just everything overall, really just making a difference for the best.
I think it can seem overwhelming. Like, what can I do as one person, you know? But if everybody just tried to do a few things that was within their control, then that's what adds up. So I mean,
Yeah.
I think the only thing we need to do is not lose hope. Not lose hope that the little things will add up and make change.
Right.
That's true. So yeah, that's on my side.
That's awesome.
I think it's great.
Well, listen, I have had so much fun, and Dad, having you here today has been such a great treat. Plus, it just makes me so happy that you're finally getting to meet David.
It was a real treat, really, real delight. Thank you so much for stopping by, Mike.
That goes both ways.
Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
and soon in person, I hope. Next
sure.
week we will be talking about technology and kids. So it's kind of a big one. And we might have some people to talk to again, but that'll be next week's topic. But this was really fun. And, you know, we'd love if you're watching this on YouTube, if you would please hit like and subscribe and join our group on Facebook, and let us know what your bucket list items are. I'd love to hear it. Maybe you have an idea that we haven't even thought of yet.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much for your time, Dad. Love you to the moon and back. You too, Mom.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you both. Y'all have a good day.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you, David.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye, Dad.
Bye.
Bye.